And welcome to another great episode of Framing New Heights. My name is Michael Hicks. I'm your host with the most. And today I'm just going to give you my topic right away from the get-go. The comeback season, how to rebuild faith, focus, and that fire, especially before the new year. And my name is Michael Hicks. I am the host of Framing New Heights as well as Live to Thrive Life and Transformational Coaching. And today's topic is really going to hone in on motivational. It's going to be heartfelt. It's going to be spiritually grounded. And before I get into any of that, can't sleep, you got the aches and pains, you got to check out this new CBD oil. It is truly Amish tested. It's proven formula. And in fact, if you want to sleep better, you got to use it. There's just no other way. So, and for Framing New Heights listeners, you get 50% off at checkout by simply going to superfungummies.com. And the only item that you can get, though, is the CBD oil, which will honor that 50% off discount. And when you get to the checkout, you can pick any size. And if you can't sleep, you've got the aches and pains, it's truly an opportunity for you to sleep better, feel refreshed, ready to attack the world, and be a better person. And simply by going to superfungummies.com, and you can check out, pick any size like I just stated, and pick the formula or the size that you want and go to new cap. The code is New Heights. That gets you 50% off at checkout. So I've got something super special, and I'm just announcing it now for the first time on my podcast here. For many of you that know that I have been coaching thousands of individuals like yourself that are listening through this, and maybe you're just frustrated. And this particular ad that I'm going to tell you right now is for these individuals, for the driven people who keep starting over and landing in the same frustration patterns. And no matter how hard you continue to push, you still find your way going back to your old cycles. Well, I got some news for you. I created this awesome piece for you. It creates change in just 60 minutes. You'll get the blueprint that you want. You've attempted everything before, right? You've lost momentum, and you've even felt trapped and doing the same results. Well, if you join this workshop, and I'll leave it in the show notes, here's what you're actually going to walk away with. You're going to get a written roadmap of your repeated cycles, so you can finally see your patterns in front of you. You're going to get clarity. And why is clarity so important? Because it builds new starts. And something that you haven't worked is now going to be able to stop that sabotage and build that progress that you've been wanting. And also awareness of your hidden beliefs and anchors that you have been weighing you down, and I will help uncover that for you. And next, you're going to get exact reflective questions that really unlock how to build that momentum piece that I often talk about. And why does my workshop work? Most people keep looking for that next new tactic, the next new routine, the next new habit, the next new goal. However, the truth is, those truly fade. And then the second your energy dips, guess what happens? Your life goes back to being off track. So what I've developed in this workshop, it's called Live to Thrive Chasing Without Becoming Workshop. And it's different, and here's why it's different. It targets the root. We dig into the identity loops that keep recycling the same results. We give you more clarity that you can see. You'll walk away with your own written roadmap of what's been keeping you stuck. And also, it's going to turn awareness into action, the 2 A's, which I often talk about on this podcast. Awareness by itself is not enough. You need to know what your next step forward is. And lastly, it works fast and it lasts long. And in just 60 minutes, you'll uncover patterns that you have been blocking you for years. And you can start by immediately breaking that piece immensely when you get into this workshop. And I've been doing this and guiding individuals for 25 years now through identity level breakthroughs and not just short-term fixes. And my Live to Thrive framework has helped countless clients transform their mindset, transform their relationship, most importantly, discover their walk and their purpose, and also while developing sustainable change. So if you want more information on that, you can email me at michael@livethethrive.com, or I also have it in the show notes. You can just go to the show notes and take a look at that, and that will be available for you. It's a feature that I'm offering that is going to be an amazing opportunity, and the price point cannot be beat. So welcome again, like I said, to Framing New Heights, where we don't just chase success, we build purpose, we build power, and we build peace that builds inside of you. And today, it is the official, I wore the flannel today because it is officially November, and I feel in Wisconsin, November is like the true kickoff for fall season. Do you agree? I do. I do. And even though it's fall, I did start listening to Christmas music. Hate me now or love me later. You pick. So in November, the stretch of the year is where life really feels like it's a tug of war, right? Between reflection and possibly renewal. And some of us feel behind. And it's the 2 months yet for the New Year's, right? New Year's resolutions. Some of you maybe at this point even feel burnt out. I want to give you some honest truth right now. The year's not over. It's not over. If you lied to yourself last January 1st and didn't see how far you've come, I got good news. It's not over yet. And there's still time for your comeback season. And this month is where you're going to rebuild your faith, you're going to refocus your energy, and you're going to reignite the fire that's been flickering beneath our fatigue. And I love mentioning fire because I'm downstairs in my humble abode, and I've got a beautiful fire going off just to my right. I wish you could see it, but it is just, imagine, it is absolutely warm, beautiful, because it is about 43 degrees outside here in Wisconsin. So my first piece that I really want to hone in on, it's a key point. And I just said this, is every comeback begins with some honesty, right? You made the New Year's resolutions how many months ago? 10 months ago? 10 months ago? And did you lie to yourself? Because a true comeback comes with honesty. It's about where you are and what you've lost along the way. I can honestly, there are times where, recently I took on 2 coaching gigs. I was coaching my daughter's 5th grade volleyball team, running a business, and then also coaching a middle school flag football team. And I really felt personally burnt out. I felt exhausted, and I stopped writing in my book, which I made this as a goal. I'm going to start officially tomorrow. I know, yes, that's part of my goal setting. So, and here's what I want you to understand is the transition that you're in, whether that's in your career, whether that's in the season that you're in, when we can balance growth and really be full of gratitude in those moments of growth, even though, and this was hard for me, and I'll be honest, because as a transformational coach, I teach my clients this, but as coaches, we also are full of emotional exhaustion. And I've gone through that season. And what I've did, though, is I've decided to rebuild that. And even though it didn't, maybe how many of you are like, I want to rebuild it, however, I don't feel ready. Well, this podcast is for you, because I can remember distinctively sitting in the car one night after a particular time in my life where I was not happy with the person that I was with. And I'm going to get a little personal here. And I remember coaching at the varsity level at that time. This was probably 10 years ago, and hating the drive home, because the person that was at my home was a person I didn't want to be with. And I can remember just sitting in that car and taking the extended way home, right? Another 20, another 30 minutes. It kept driving. It kept adding minutes. And I felt like at that moment, I just felt like I had nothing to give. And I didn't have the radio on. I didn't have anything on. And in that quiet space, I realized something. I realized that I can come back from this situation. I can end the situation. However, it's not going to be a comfortable situation. But I knew at that moment I built some clarity. So I want to ask those of you that are listening, to all my podcast listeners, my subscribers, if you have not subscribed, please do so. Got great features for my subscribers. You get instantaneous access when I go live without the edits. You get to work in with me, add questions when I go live on my YouTube channel. Great opportunity for that, but please subscribe. I have a new episode that drops every Wednesday at 4 a.m. Central Standard Time, and kindly give me that 5-star rating, which many of you have. And if you want more information, or maybe you have a unique story that you would like to share, and if you want to be part of my podcast, you can go to framingnewheights@gmail.com, and I have a questionnaire that you can fill out and see if you're a good fit to bring you on the show. But if you got a great story, would love to hear that. But I want to ask all of our listeners this one question. I got a few of them. What's one area of your life right now that you stopped showing up for? What is it? Is it fitness? Is it spiritual based? Is it your diet? Is it instant gratification? Is it not going to church? Like, what is it? What is one area of your life that you stopped showing up for? And then the next question I want to ask you is, where have you been surviving instead of thriving? Just got back from a wonderful getaway, which I immensely needed, and we put this on our calendar for a reason, because it just kind of gave us a chance to reboot, right? And we go through those days where we're surviving. Maybe it's the Monday, and maybe you're having these thoughts and all these things, these evil or bad things that are coming into your day. So are you surviving instead of thriving? It's a yes or no question. And then the follow-up to all of that is, what would you, or how can I say this? What would your comeback look like if you started it today? Like, my goal is 20 minutes of writing a day, and I made this commitment 2 days ago. What would your comeback look like? I want to reference, and I'll pull up this Bible passage here. It's Isaiah 40, verse 31 says, "But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength, and they'll soar on wings like eagles." Saw a bunch of eagles this weekend. Not going to lie. Beautiful to see them. Not a bunch, probably 2 of them where we went, but it was just awesome. Awesome. Let me grab a quick drink here before I get into my next segment. So the next segment is rebuilding your faith. Now stick with me here, even if you're not in a religion, or I'm not Bible thumping here. You hear, I need you to just hear. I think everything needs to start with a conversation, and that's what I'm going to go with here. All right. So my key point here out of this segment is that faith isn't built by what's working. You know what it's strengthened by? Do you know that? It's what's missing in your life. So it's missing in your life. Don't say, "Oh, $1 million is missing in my life." No, that's not faith. I want to share a story, and it's a client story who had faced several setbacks, and from relationship abuse to being enlisted into an institution because of something happened. They just were really struggling. And I kept telling my client to just trust the process, trust the breakthrough, trust the fact that their mother or dad were dying. I don't want to give too many details, but trust that they were on their deathbed, right? And just give everything you can in those moments, because you're gonna, after they pass, you're gonna realize that you're not gonna be able to talk to them, hear them, be with them. Transformation, everybody, is something small, but if you don't have the discipline to incorporate that into your life, especially on top of that, the small discipline, you have to include prayer, scripting, writing. For me, spiritual guidance with the Bible, true surrender, and consistency. When you get all those lined up, you develop momentum. And I talk about momentum. In fact, if you want more momentum, You got to get my workshop, which I'm going to tell you right now. Here's the price. It's worth over $1,000, and I'm giving it to you for right now for $24. It is an incredible steal. It's 1 hour of your time that will change your life just by going to the show notes. Click on that link. It's got testimonials in there. It's got stories of people that did the same thing. I'd love for you to check it out. Faith is like a muscle. It doesn't grow when everyone's, or I should say, it doesn't grow when everything is easy, right? It doesn't. It stays stagnant. Nothing changes. So if it's not growing when everything is easy, when is it growing, Michael? It grows when you choose to believe before you see the results. That's faith. That's trusting and knowing and hopefully having an answer. God, give me an answer through this turmoil. Give me a symbol. Show me something. And he shows me every day. Every day. I'll pray about, help me find happiness, and something will happen, and something is said that there's no way that it could have been said if I did not pray about it. No way. There's no way. I want to encourage you to journal for 7 days. And I'm going to give you some tips right now. I'm going to give you 2 simple questions that you can journal for the next 7 days. If you follow me on Instagram, you follow me on my socials, I just gave another one out there that's really evidence-based and can really prove a change. But you got to stay consistent. That's generally why most individuals hire a coach. So a practical tip, I want you right now to journal 7 days a week. Here it is. Number 1, where do I need to trust more in and do less in? Where do I need to do more trust in and do less in? Right? I'm going to put my girlfriend on the spot. She watches these shows. And it's all about drama. I'm not going to give a particular name of a show because I don't want to give any just drama. It's just drama. Drama that's not needed in our life, but she just likes it. Maybe the question for you that maybe you're in that season, you watch the stuff, and yes, it's mindless, but that mindless stuff goes inside. It perpetuates. It digests in our body and then brings more stuff out. The question I have is, where do you need to do more trust and less things in? Maybe it's less listening to that ghetto banging music that you have thumping in your car. Maybe it's stop watching pornography. Maybe it's stop binge drinking. I don't know what yours is. But what do you need to do more trust in and do less of? My second piece, the second journal question is, and these, what's great about these 2 questions is you don't need to answer this to anybody except yourself. But when you see and you have understanding and awareness, remember, awareness is a start. Yeah, it's not all of it, which I talked about earlier on this podcast. It's not all of it. But the next question is what am I resisting that my Creator or God might be using me to refine me in? Man, that's powerful, right? What am I resisting with God that might be using me to refine me more? You know, we often ask questions is like, Michael, how do I know my purpose? How do I discover that? That's a loaded question. I'll just say this. If you have an empty pit in your stomach, you don't know your purpose. If you feel like you have to appease everybody else except yourself, you don't have a purpose. If you have to come home after you're working all day and do nothing but lay on the couch and neglect your family, neglect the people around you, you don't have a purpose. My purpose is to provide more value to everybody that I incorporate and encounter every single day. My purpose, I wake up every morning. Today I may have forgotten, I'll be honest. But I always like to say this. I always like to say, allow me to walk in Jesus Christ's footsteps every single day. And do I fall short? 110%. Every time. But that's my goal. And it's okay to have goals. So do those journaling questions the next 7 days and watch how your life will change. Segment 3. Let's talk about energy. Everybody's like, I need more energy. That's why I need to start working out. Well, this segment you're going to like. It's refocusing your energy. Literally yesterday, I didn't have energy. I had discipline. We went to the gym. A girlfriend had the workout. I sometimes don't like to coach. I like to be told what to do. I have coaches as well that tell me what to do. Sometimes you just need those days. She's like, let's do this workout. So we did this workout. I didn't have the energy. Okay? And I say all that because burnout happens when your attention is divided. It's not when your purpose is strong. It's not when your purpose is strong. So, have you ever had a season in which busyness really clouded your clarity? Like, how many are like, yeah, that's me every single day. It's so busy. It's so busy. It's so, how many do we always say, it's so busy. It's so busy. Well, clarity is not doing everything. And so let me say this to you. You were doing everything all the time, yet not becoming anything. You think about that for a second? And I'm going to just call this out for what it is. It's getting warm down here. I can feel the fire. You can work for a company for 25 years, and in an instant, they can let you go. You've been doing everything for this company. You've been traveling for them. You took a pay cut or a step down in the company. And one day you go get a prescription at a drive-thru and your insurance is no longer available. Busyness clouds our clarity. So you were doing everything for this institution, fill in the blank, this company, fill in the blank, yet not becoming anything. What did you become out of it? What did you become about working with this company? If you work for somebody, are you a better person from it? What are you doing for the kindness, for the love, for the reassurance for other people? Are you doing that? And as a longtime educator, I struggled with this because sometimes I feel that, I would give everything, but I sometimes felt like I was doing everything for everybody else except for myself. And I know a lot of you that are listening to this podcast episode today feel the same way. This is why structure is so important. This is why time management, time ownership is important. This is why to be still. My girlfriend's like, oh my gosh, I've been doing everything so much, and I this is just weird. She had the best night's sleep she had in a long time. Time ownership, structure. You need to have downtime. You must have away from screens. One of our goals is we will not be on our screens. I think it was either for one, I'd have to go back and look at the notes. It was either for one entire day that we're together or from 3 p.m. on. But we're making a point to really structure our time and our time ownership. We don't always get a lot of time. Kids, family, circumstances. Do you say no to distractions, or are you always saying yes to everything that's non-meaningful to you? No to distractions help you regain focus. Say no. It's okay to say no. So, as the Live to Thrive coach that I am, I want some questions that I want to ask some of my listeners here, and ask yourself, or journal, or write these down. What's stealing your energy that doesn't serve your purpose? Woo! That's a huge question. Is there something you're doing in your life that's taking away your purpose? If you don't know your purpose, you cannot answer that question. You need to connect with me if you really want to discover that. If you're struggling with what your purpose is, you cannot answer that question. The second one. What's one boundary you can set up this week as you're walking into the first full week of November? This will drop on the Wednesday of, I don't even know the date offhand. I don't have my calendar in front of me. But the next question is what's one boundary you can set this week to protect your peace? Protected it this weekend in the middle of nowhere, seeing bald eagles in a forest cabin, nestled in the woods, with a fire, a hot tub, great food. Oh, I didn't really like the chicken, but steaks were great. We make this awesome dessert too. Comfort food. But it protected our peace. The drive home wasn't fun, but it still protected our peace. I'm reminded of a Bible passage. It's Proverbs 4, verse 25, where it says, "Let your eyes look straight ahead. Fix your gaze directly before you." Where are you looking? Are you looking into the secular world for things? Are your eyes gazed on the right person? And for me, that's the foundation. And I'm telling you, without a foundation, you cannot have a purpose. Energy in itself follows alignment. And when your yes is like sacred and like, man, like your fire says you're steady. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Because we say yes to things that matter in your life. Things that matter. What does it align with your values? Your values and your calendar should be together. Together. All right, now Michael Hicks is going to give you the keynote speech on reigniting that fire. Letting that fire, because a fire, like this thing over here that I got going on, it's a pellet stove. It's amazing. It heats my entire house, but it'll probably be like 75, 78 degrees down here, which is awesome because it's cold outside. Is fire, this fire that's going on, it'll stop fueling. If I don't continue to feed it with these pellets. The same way with your goals that you have set, whether they're physical goals, whether they're emotional goals or spiritual goals, if you don't, maybe it's even relationship goals. You cannot be in a relationship if you are not investing in that relationship. So a fire fades when you stop fueling it. How are you fueling your relationship with your kids? How are you fueling your relationship with your purpose? How are you fueling your relationship with your significant other? Crazy, right? I want to talk about a moment where mindset go hand in hand, and maybe share with you an exercise that can really reconnect your purpose. And I always like to say and start out is, who am I? Write every word that associates with you of who you are. I'm a father. I'm a Jesus lover. I'm odd. I'm in fitness. I teach. I love. I'm kind. All of these things, right? The first thing, like, you could do this. I did this in I was on a retreat and I did this exercise, and I still use it for my clients. It's, who am I? Who are you? Some of the biggest revolutions, I'm rethinking here how I want to say this. Some of my biggest revelations did not happen behind a computer screen. You know when they happened? Usually when I'm working out, when I'm praying and asking God for it. Maybe it's when I do my 10-minute cardio session of my goal is to get a mile in, or even a walk, an all walk. And you can take these simple actionable steps for you right now. And write this, if you can write this down, write it down. Stop the podcast right now, because this will help you. I've got 3 actionable steps. Faith fire. Start each morning with gratitude, prayer, and 1 Bible verse. I promise you, it will change your life if you do it for 30 days. I promise, I promise, I promise. That's number 1, faith fire. Number 2, and we can call these F squared, right? Focus fire. Eliminate one thing that's draining a habit that you've been doing this whole week. What is one thing that you need to get rid of that's draining? It's a draining habit. The next one, fuel fire. Move your body for at least 20 minutes a day. And do this in a sense of a form of worship and renewal. Does that make sense? Now, again, these things, if you haven't gotten anything out of the podcast episode, faith fire, focus fire, and fuel fire will change your life, because they're actionable steps that really provenly work. I'm gonna probably butcher this Bible passage, but it ties in pretty significantly here. Is fan into the flame the gift of God that is in you. You are worth so much. You have so much purpose. You have so much direction. You're beautiful. You're kind. You're caring. You need to hear these things because you are. So fan that flame because it's a gift that God's given you. As I close today, know that first and foremost, thank you for being a listener. Thank you for subscribing. And please send it to 1, 2, 5 of your friends that maybe could really hear this and really create that change that they've been longing for. And take advantage of chasing and not becoming my workshop that I have, and I might have butchered the name of that. Go and do it because it will transform and utterly, momentarily chasing without becoming is one of my best pieces that I have marketed. I'm beginning to market it now, and it really has I have been able with the blessings to help real people build real breakthroughs, and you're going to get it all in 1 hour of your time, and you can break the cycle. And it's something that I've built in the time I've been building and working with my clients. It's priceless. So as I close today, your comeback season does not need to start January 1st. You can start it today. You can start in this very moment, just with one decision to rise again. Don't let the pain of the past rob you of who you want to become or who and what your purpose is. Don't let fatigue steal your fire. And don't let your doubt drown your faith. Because at the end of the day, our Creator, my Creator, God, He doesn't want to just restore what was lost. He wants to multiply your blessings, especially if you trust Him through this rebuilding process. So, thank you. I hope that truly this episode today was a comeback of declaration that you needed to get a jump start into the new year, which is coming up. You still got time to finish up 2025 strong. So do me a favor. If you listen to this and you want to share your comeback declaration, go to any social media. Can you just post this episode and tag Live to Thrive? So hashtag Live to Thrive. That's LIV, the number 2 and Thrive. And then maybe hashtag Framing New Heights. And also, please DM me or email me your breakthrough that you're working towards before the end of the year. I want to hear it because I would love to share your story with the rest of my podcast listeners, because it's all about sharing stories. It's all about evolving. It's also about becoming our best purposeful self. Until next time, my name is Michael Hicks. I am your host with the most. And as always, 1% better in mind, body, and soul. And always stay flexed.